Good day, good people. My name is Gentleman Viking, and welcome back to part 4 of my off the cuff Mandalorian impression review video thingies. So I just finished watching Mandalorian episode 3, The Sin, and yeah, wow. Okay, so if episode 1 was setting it all up, as in setting up the Mandalorian himself, episode 2 was about setting up Baby Yoda. This is just dialing it up to 11. So the episode starts off with Mandalorian flying back to the planet where he picked up the bounty and where the Imperial troopers are. He drops off the Baby Yoda, gets his reward, and then you can tell that he's really like reluctant because it sort of alludes it to later on in the episode. He gets his reward, which is more of that special metal that the Mandalorians seem to like. One thing I did notice as he was walking through the marketplace to where the Imperials were, there were a lot of aliens with a lot of different practical effects. And even something as simple as it was like a kid in a spacesuit or something that looked like that looked alien enough. And it was just little touches like that that made me think, yeah, this is in another galaxy far, far away. There haven't been a lot of aliens or practical effect makeups in these new Star Wars movies. But this, yeah, it's pretty much everywhere. It's great. I love it. And the practical effects they used on Baby Yoda, I'm sure they used a model. That looks amazing. You cannot beat practical effects in comparing it to CGI. You just can't get the same quality. Yeah, when he picked up his reward, it was like a good dozen or so ingots of this metal. I thought he could just about make a couple of different full Mandalorian armor suits. That was pretty cool. And then he goes underground back to visit that shaman blacksmith, and he's walking through their little compound, and there's like a dozen or so different Mandalorians there, and I'm like, whoa, wait, what? I thought it was just the two of them. That's really cool. And they talk about having to hide underground since the Great Purge. Their strength used to be in their numbers, now they're all in hiding. I thought, wow, okay then, so it seems like the Great Purge is something that the Empire did to wipe the Mandalorians off the face of the Earth galaxy, and a few of them survived, but not enough to be a force to be reckoned with. At least not on a galactic scale or a system-wide scale. So they're all in hiding, and it seems as if they all try to keep their identities secret, and only one of them is allowed to go above ground at a time. And this one seems to be dubbed the Mandalore, which is interesting to me because back in when I was playing the Old Republic games, Knights of the Old Republic, they always spoke of the Mandalorians, and well, not always, but they spoke of the Mandalorians and their leader, who was known as Mandalore. And in the second game, when you find Mandalore, it's often implied that it is Canis Ordo or something, I believe his name was, from the first game, and that Revan did something to him, and now he was either stuck in a suit of armor or he wasn't allowed to take it off. And now they're saying that the Mandalorians in general, or the Mandalore, they're not allowed to remove their helmets. They're not allowed to be stripped by anyone. And they keep on saying, it's like a little catchphrase, "This is the way." And it reminded me a lot of the Quarians from Mass Effect, always in their armor, never allowed to take it off. But for them, it was a biohazard issue. For the Mandalorians, it seems more like a societal issue, like almost as if they take off their armor, then they'll be discovered, even though it's pretty distinct armor to begin with. And they always use this phrase, "This is the way," to express the fact that yes, this is the rules. You have to do it this way. I thought that was pretty interesting for their society. Um, They seem to be very aggressive and have a lot of aggressive tendencies, as I spoke of in the last episode. I said in the last episode they were pretty much bred for war or combat, and it still seems to be the case here. And I thought that, yeah, that was pretty cool in of itself. They spoke about something called the whistling birds, and I'm like, oh, okay then. When they loaded it into the gauntlet, I thought, is this some type of defense? Um, and while they're forging, so they take the metal and they form a new chest piece for I'll call him Mando. He seems to be called Mando a lot. So they're forging a new chest piece for Mando, and he has another flashback like when they were forging his shoulder pad. And this time we get a little bit more in depth. It looks as if it was the Mandalorian as a child. He gets locked in a cellar by his parents while there's explosions going off everywhere. And I saw what I thought was like this separatist droid from the prequel series, but it looks like it's some sort of imperial version of it. So it must be like this great purge must have taken place as the Empire was rising to power. They were still using a lot of droids and separatist technology, which also could lead into why the Mandalore doesn't like droids. In the first episode, he calls up a taxi. It's a brand new taxi with a droid driving it, and he says, "No, no droids." And then he calls up another taxi, and it's all beaten down, but it's got a biological pilot. And he's like, "Yeah, I'll take that one." And he even seems to not trust IG-88. I'm thinking that's because he saw this droid slaughtering his family or his people back when he was a kid, and that's definitely got to leave an impression. Um, his new armor looks really cool. He like wanders into the bounty hunter complex, their little bar, and it's all shiny and silver. And I thought, oh, that's cool. Makes me wonder if he's gonna paint it in a different color. Because beforehand it was a mixture of looked like red and maroon and cream almost. Um, so anyway, he sits down with Carl Weathers' character. I can't remember his name. I don't know if he's been given a name yet. And he's pretty much saying, "Oh, you've raked in the biggest bounty. You're the best bounty hunter in the room. Go and enjoy yourself. Give yourself a reward." He's like, "No, I want to get back to business. Give me my next job." Um, Carl Weathers like, "Oh, okay then, whatever." Hands him another bounty. And Mando is about to leave on his ship, and you can, with this is storytelling done right. It's a mixture of the music, the camera angles, the tone, and also the physical acting of the actor in the Mandalorian suit. You can tell that between the flashbacks of his childhood and him asking about what the Imperials are going to do with Baby Yoda, you can tell that he regrets handing over this child to people who are essentially his enemies. They wiped out his own people, and I think he regretted handing another child over to have who knows what done to it. Um, and yeah, that gave us such another big insight into his character. He hates the Imperials. He doesn't want to. It seems as if he doesn't want to hurt or see Baby Yoda, or even maybe even children in general, get hurt, especially by the the Empire. Um, you can feel his protectiveness and even his empathy towards Baby Yoda. And when he was making his armor, and he was talking about how he took down this big rhino, they say they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll give you the emblem." "No, I can't. It was a dishonorable kill. I was aided by an enemy." "Oh, why would an enemy aid you?" He's like, "It didn't know I was its enemy." And he's looking down, and you can just tell that this weighs heavy on him. Like, the kid is innocent. The kid doesn't know any better, and he's just handed it off to cruel monsters by his experience. So he sneaks into the Imperial um, complex. I say sneak in. He pretty much breaks off their doorbell robot and blows a hole in the wall. And he's like stealth killing stormtroopers. And then when they find him, he lets out the whistling birds, which are like some sort of homing missile defense. I thought that was amazing. That was pretty cool. It reminded me a lot of an Iron Man gadget, like his shoulder pops up and all these little missiles come flying out. Thought that was awesome. Um, One cool thing, one little detail I did notice was that all the stormtroopers, their armor was all beaten up and dented and dirty. It looked like certain troopers had almost looked like bits were falling off of it, as if to say that yeah, these guys are pretty much defeated. They don't have a proper armory to clean themselves up. I thought that was a really cool little touch. Um, I'm curious about who this Doctor character is. When Mandalore finally breaks into where they're keeping Baby Yoda's unconscious, and this Doctor character is like, oh no, I swear I was trying to save him, I didn't want to hurt him, and Mandalore spares him. So I'm hoping he comes back. That would be pretty cool. Um, and then he takes Baby Yoda out. He's taking him back to his ship. But then suddenly, all of the beepers from the other bounty hunters, like their tracking devices, it seems that they're keyed into certain biological codes. But they all start going off, and I was thinking to myself, wait a minute, the bounty has been collected, and surely it would have been a couple of hours for him to get his armor made at least. Why? Why are all of these uh, sensors going off? You would have thought it would all be cleared as the bounty has now been collected. But that's my thought anyway. So all of the bounty hunters, they try and gang up on Mandalore. They're surrounding him, and Carl Weathers is like, oh, pretty much says we can do this the easy way or the hard way. Drop off the kid in the speeder, and we may let you go. Mandalore jumps into the speeder, threatens a droid. He's like, drive! Droid's like, no! Oh no, he's like, drive! No. Drive! Ah! And then speeds off. That was. So yeah, that also makes me wonder. It seems like droids do have a degree of sentience and free will. It's weird how sometimes they're complete slaves and other times they have enough survival instinct to go against their orders and their programming. Um, the Mandalore puts up a brave fight. He's like uh, shooting bounty hunters from the speeder with his blaster pistol. They shoot down the speeder, so he starts sniping them off with his disintegrator rifle. Carl Weathers is even impressed. Oh, that's an impressive weapon you got. Um, and then I was not expecting this. It was so cool. All the bounty hunters are closing in, and then suddenly, like, all dozen of the Mandalorians who are in that compound just jet jump out from behind the walls, over roofs. They start taking out the other bounty hunters. Some of them have got pistols. One guy's got like a blaster Gatling cannon. I'm like, oh my god, that is so cool. Um, it just about it was braingasmic. I'll put it that way. It was so awesome, and uh, they he's like, oh wait, what are you doing now? We'll have to ref move the covert, move the covert to their hidey hole, and they're just like, oh, this is the way. They have to remain hidden. If they get discovered, they move to another place, but they sacrifice their anonymity to save him. So it seems like the Mandalorians also definitely have a code of honor and a definite code of protectiveness. If not towards each other, then definitely towards the Mandalore, the one who's meant to walk out amongst the commoners, so to speak. That was pretty cool. And then Mandalore gets back on his ship. He has a face-off with Carl Weathers. Pretty gravitas moment. And then Mandalore shoots his carbon freezer. Gas pipes out. Carl Weathers tries shooting him, but he ducks away. And then he shoots Carl Weathers in the chest. And I heard this thunk, and I'm like, nah, he's not dead. And earlier on in the episode, Carl Weathers is like, oh yeah, I got paid too, and reveals that he had some of this special metal as well. Um, I can't remember the name. I'm terrible with names. I'll just call it B Steel. So he's got this B Steel in his jacket, and that was what the Mandalore hit with his blaster pistol. So I'm thinking, oh, what if in a few episodes' time or towards the end, Carl Weathers' character, he's probably going to want revenge on the Mandalore because of all of the bounty hunters he's taken down. Plus, he shot him. So I'm wondering if he's going to have like a suit of not Mandalorian armor, but armor made from this special metal. That would be pretty cool. Um, it would be even more amazing if he did find out ways to make a full suit of Mandalorian armor, so they have like a full face off. There's this one bit right at the end. Mandalore is flying away in his ship, and one of the Mandalorians is flying past him with his jump jet. And he gives him like a proper military salute. I thought that was a bit on the nose, bit too, eh. I would have been fine with just like a wave or more like that sort of thing, a send off salute, not like a full on military salute, because that just seems a bit too. I hate to say it, but too American for my taste. I'm Australian, and military bravado never really gets me. But there is this real cute bit right at the end. In the previous episode, Baby Yoda was playing with a little ball on the Mandalorian stick shift, or maybe it was earlier in the episode. And Mandalorian's like, "Oh no, it's not a toy." Puts it back on the thing, puts him back in the cot, in the pod, and then you see Baby Yoda like reach up over his controls. He unscrews it and drops it down to Baby Yoda for him to play with. I was thinking to myself, "Oh shit, I hope he doesn't eat it. This is a baby after all." Uh, yeah, overall, a pretty good episode. I enjoyed it. Can't wait for the next one. Should be awesome. Um, if you have any comments, feel free to leave them below. Feel free to like the video, share it around with your friends. This did contain a lot of spoilers again, so make sure that you don't spoil it for your friends. And yeah, I guess I'll see you for the next one. Ta-ra!